Carlene, and this is Diva Tonight, a podcast about women in their 40s and a female perspective on this stage of life. We'll be talking about dating and why single life might be for you. I have in front of me my colleague, we went to Humber together, Jennifer Kowalshin. She is creative writer, producer, office manager, and announcer for 92.9 The Grand, right?
Yeah.
Many hats there, right?
Yeah, we have a cluster of stations, so it's not just that one, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what are the other stations? I know there's a few, right?
Yeah, we got KX 94.7, our country station, 88.5 The Lake. Oshawa, we have 94.9 The Rock, KX 96, and CKDO. And we're actually just we have a station in Vancouver now. We're launching some in Peterborough. So there's a lot going on.
Wow. Lots going. Yeah, that's keeping you busy for sure. I don't know if you know this, but our old classmate, Erin, she said that she listens to 92.9 The Grand. And I told her, I'm like, that's where Jen works. She's like, oh, I had no idea. I'm like, yeah. Right? You've been there quite a few years now. Is it over a decade? How long?
Yeah, it'll be, I think, 12 years this year that I'm at this company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the Grand launched in 2016. So I've been with them since day one.
Wow. That's amazing. How does that feel, though?
To feel old. That's how it feels.
Oh my God. I know I feel old, too, talking to you now, because it's just when we think about Humber and our memories there and how much time we spent in the studio, and
just to think that was, 13 years ago is just mind-boggling to me.
I know. I was just wow, where did the time go? Every time I think about it, I can't believe, we're in our 40s, right? So what did you do for your 40th birthday?
A whole bunch of stuff. I think I went on 2 trips in the same month. I took a trip to Vegas with my mom because she had never been. And I was like, hey, let's go party up in Vegas. I went on an emo cruise. So it's a music festival cruise, essentially, with my friend CJ, which was super fun. And I had a big birthday party at my house. That's what I did for my 40th.
Nice. How many people showed up at your house party? I know Jen throws a good house party. I'm going to say that. I remember you used to. I mean, the one thing I did though was I was annoyed at the Leafs always playing in the background. I'm like, oh my gosh, every time. But that aside, nothing has changed, right?
No.
I mean, the Leafs isn't tonight? There's a game on tonight, right?
Yeah.
But getting back to your house parties. So yeah, Jen threw a good house party. There's always music. If she's not playing guitar, some of her friends are. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I feel like I'm at a live little here. So
yeah, I had a DJ a couple times,
yeah.
I like to do that. I mean, there was about 20 people here for my 40th, so not as big of a rager as they used to throw, but it was nice because my most of my friends are in Toronto, so to get them to come to Hamilton's not always easy. But my birthday is the one time of year where I'm like, you guys are coming to see me because it's my birthday.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably easier when you lived in Toronto and just like you, I'm not even in Toronto either. I live in Brampton. I've been here for 4 years going on 5, but yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. It's when you get older, your friends just, not me personally, but people get married and have kids and get busy. And even my best friend, I 100% still consider her my best friend, but I only see her once every couple months, maybe, because she's so busy. I'm so busy. And it's so hard to coordinate. She probably sees moms in her neighborhood more than she sees me. But that's just because our lives have kind of gone in different directions and we've moved apart. And, it's certainly harder to maintain relationships when you're this age. But you really find out who your people are, because those are the people that you still go back to after all these years, and you can see them once every 3 months, and that's okay. That's just how life is now.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of seeing friends, close friends, my one friend, he's actually, he's one of my closest friends. And I met him when I was at York, and I've known him for 20 years too. And I just saw him on a whim, because I didn't even plan the trip, but I couldn't believe it was 7 years since we've seen each other. He has to either come to Toronto or I go to Calgary, so I get what you're saying with that. You also mentioned the one thing, your friend is obviously a mom, and that's totally different than your whole experience. And I think that's the one thing that I don't know. I think it makes you think when you get to 40 about like whether or not you see yourself having kids. I mean, me and you, especially because we're both in the same boat. Like, I don't have any kids and I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, I still feel like I'm pondering about it. Like, I've never thought that I would be a mom. Like some people already know, like when they're in their early 30s. I don't know. Like, how do you feel like now that you're at this stage in your life about the whole thing, you know?
I made a decision years ago that I didn't want kids. It's just not something, I don't know. I just know too much about myself to know that like I would not be a happy mother. I'm not saying I'd be a bad mom. I would love my kids if I had them. You know, that's just how it goes. But in terms of where I want my life to go, like that kids never fit into that properly. And I mean, until very, very recently, I was single for quite a long time too. And I just like, as I got older too, I was like, I can't imagine having a teenager when I'm in my late 50s. I want to be almost retired by then. So that I like at this point now, absolutely not. I do not want kids. And my cousins, there's 3 of them that had kids later, like in their 40s, one of them in their late 40s, and they're thrilled, they're happy, they love their lives. But for me, it's not something that I ever really wanted. Like there was a very brief time in my life where I thought maybe because my partner wanted them, but he actually passed away. So that after that happened, it was just like, no, I'm back to I've been like, since I was a teenager, I was like, I don't want kids. I've always had that mentality. So it was like, it took one person to kind of make me like, okay, maybe, but then, and I'm back to like, I have no interest in children. I love them. I love having kids, but I love giving the kids back to their parents. I don't want to be the one having to take care of them and deal with it. And it's just like, I know I've recently discovered I have ADHD and like all this stuff that like, I'm still learning about myself. And it's like, I couldn't imagine having to take care of another kid, or like a kid, someone else in my life who I know I would prioritize because that's my personality. But I have a hard enough time taking care of myself. So I can't imagine life like that. And like some people are absolutely the complete opposite. Like my best friend, she always wanted kids and like she waited. She didn't have them until she was in her late 30s. So they're just little now, but she always wanted them. That just never changed in her mind. Whereas me, like I knew from a young age I didn't want them. And that didn't really change for me.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that. I think for me, because I took care of my siblings at such a young age, having to take them out and try to find creative things for us to do on like not lots of money. And I'm like, this is a lot. I think that kind of made me realize too at a younger age, I'm like, I don't know if I want to be a mom. This is a lot of work, and I was just their big sister and having to be like, oh yeah, I have to take them to the park in the summer, or maybe I'll figure out like that kind of thing. And just hearing you talk about that being not wanting to be a mom and knowing from a young age in your life. And then another thing, you're learning that you have ADHD.
It explains a lot of my whole life. And I'm much gentler with myself now because I used to be like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I function like a normal person? And now I know why, because my brain doesn't function properly. So that's been a huge, huge like change.
Wow. I have not talked about that openly, and hearing you say it, I have ADHD too, and it took COVID for me to finally go to see a doctor, get assessed, because I'm like, I have anxiety, but it was a lot worse, Jen. Like when I got laid off and like not having a schedule or routine and going to work, I couldn't believe it. I was like 4 hours a day, like not sleeping. And I was just like, I need to figure out what's wrong because it's not just my anxiety. You know what I mean? So I can totally relate. I couldn't believe when you said that. I was like, wow.
Yeah. And it just explains so much of my life to me that I'm like, okay. And like, again, like I said, it's so much more gentle with myself now because like I recognize that like there's not something wrong with me. There's the way my brain functions is different from a neurotypical person. So like just having that knowledge has been incredibly valuable because now I recognize that, and because I'm that kind of ADHD where like there's something on the floor and I need to pick it up, but I'll walk over it 30 times before I actually pick it up. It's that executive function problem. But now it's like, I'm like, Jen, just pick it up. So it's Like, as I have to like talk
yeah.
about, like, hey, ADHD brain, I'll just pick that up. It'll take you 30 seconds. And like timers have been a big thing for me where I'm like, I'm going to do the thing for 30 minutes that I don't want to do because I'm not getting any dopamine from that. But I set a timer and the timer goes off and I'm like, well, I might as well just finish it. Like those little tricks that I'm literally playing tricks on my own brain to help me function better. But yeah, realizing that late in life is just been incredible for me because it explains so much of my life and it helps me understand myself so much better. It's really helped me heal and reflect on, you know, everything from school to family to like relationships, partners, all the things that have happened in my life, all the problems, you know, and when I just like, I didn't know why things weren't working or why, you know, I would have these personality traits that I just could not change, like being messy, for example. Like I'm generally my place, like looking around right now, it's
yeah, it looks
like,
pretty good to me.
Yeah. But you know, then I'll have a week where I'm just not good at that. And I come downstairs to my apartment and there's cups everywhere and there's recycling and my bedroom's a mess and my clothes are everywhere. And I'm like, how did I? But then I'll clean it and then I'll be fine for a week, you know, but it's just little things like that that used to drive my partners insane when they'd be like, just pick your stuff up. And it's like, and it's not that I would hear that and be like, well, screw you, I don't want to do it. I would literally leave the room and it was gone. Like it's not like I was intentionally doing these things to annoy a partner. Like I just literally, my brain just, the function of my brain was just off. But I'm recognizing that now. It's like I'm, like I said, more gentle and kind to myself, but also at the same time, like more firm. Like just do the thing. Like do the thing, Jen.
Yeah, as long as you have the reminders. Like I have to have reminders around. My thing is laundry. Like I think my mom made me a clean freak in a way,
right,
with that. But like, yeah, like you said, the laundry, it'll be like, I'll do the laundry, but it takes me sometimes a week to put it away. Whereas sometimes I'm like, okay, just put it away. Cause then in the morning, you're not looking, where's the socks? Where's this?
right.
And like, and I'm telling you, like, there's been so many times I've lost earphones. I'm like, where did I put it? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why did I not put it back in the same place? And I found out in the front yard, in the driveway, some car drove over it. So I was like, oh, this is why I don't buy expensive earphones. Another one. Oh my God, I lost like 3 or 4 of them. So hearing you say the whole messy thing, yeah, I have my moments where I'm just like, okay, I can't do the dishes right now. I have to go like, you know what I mean? Certain things where I'm like, okay, I'll do it when I get home, or I get fixated on it and not realize, like I have my days. But yeah, like you said, being kind to yourself is so important because you just like, I think I can understand what you're saying because there's so many moments when I was younger, I'm like, why am I like this? Like,
there's exactly those lines. Why am I like this? Now
oh my gosh, I was the worst in class. Like if the class was boring, I'd like daydream or drift off.
Yeah.
Like math class, science class. Oh my gosh. It was just, yeah. And you know, the problem is too, where your parents just think you're lazy. I remember watching, I get fixated on a show and be watching something for hours on end. My mom's like, get up right now. Like, what are you doing? We've been watching this for hours. And then because they think you're just lazy, but like once once I got fixated on something, now I get it. Then I wouldn't want to stop watching something that I found interesting. I didn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
But to someone else, like who is like neurotypical, I guess is what you say, they'd be like, think you're lazy. Like you just don't want to do anything.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And, you know, I actually read an article recently. I can't remember where it was, but it was talking about like how much negative energy you get, like as an undiagnosed ADHD kid. Like my bedroom was always messy. And like I loved when it was clean and I felt so good when I did that, but I would just let it slip. And my mom would constantly be on me about it and like call me lazy and call me dirty and call me messy. And it's like, you know, that as a frustrated parent, I would have done the exact same thing, but neither of us knew that like I have executive function problems and that like I would literally just need to like make it a game or make it a contest or get her involved to help me get it done because I couldn't do it. Like I would just freeze. My brain wouldn't let me do it. I'd be staring at my room, be like, so messy. I hate it, and not be able to do anything about it. But when you're growing up, like from your teachers, from your parents, from your friends. Like you're constantly getting this negative thing. And the story was basically about how you mask that and you mask it. And over the years, you just learn to keeping that part of yourself quiet. And then how, when you do finally figure out what's going on, like, it's like, you can finally be like, okay, you know what? Yes, I am like this. I'm aware now and I can work on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been years of me masking this because I was always a good student because I would hyper focus in class on whatever it was. I was a speed reader. I would go crazy studying for tests because I would hyper focus on all these things whenever I needed to. So it was hard. Like, I don't think anyone would have guessed that I would have ADHD. And like, even in college, like, you see, I was.
Yeah, I know. We didn't have that problem.
Class.
Yeah. There's certain subjects I probably didn't like. I probably needed a tutor. Like in high school, I excelled too. I did well in school, but just certain subjects, I needed someone to help me. Like math and science, I struggled.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, then I decided, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do general math. And when I took it, I was like excelling and people are like, why are you in this class? Like you're getting like an A. And I'm like, because advanced math, I could barely pass. I had to go to summer school. Like I can't keep up. They don't slow down for you in advanced math. Like you either get it or you don't. Like we're not waiting for you to catch on, right? But yeah, like you said, yeah, I figured it. I think we like figure it out. Like I had an agenda. I always knew like write things out to keep myself organized in one way or another. But yeah, like you said, knowing is half the battle. Like it, yeah. I mean, now that you know, and then your mom knows this, do you feel like she's like understanding of like why?
Yeah.
Or like, how was that conversation? Did you even have it? Or
I live with my mother. We share.
Yeah.
So I have a basement apartment and she lives on the main floor. And yeah, this like sort of explaining that to her, I could see her sort of thinking back and remembering all those times. And it's like, I wasn't like angry at her, but like, you were mean to me when I had brain problems, not like that at all. I just like, even as an adult, like, again, like, when I do let things get messy or I have 4 cups on the go because I've forgotten that, you're already
drinking one drink. Oh yeah, I finished that. Oh, I didn't finish that drink.
Yeah. And that happens sometimes. So I think she is just more patient with me because my mom's very clean, and like, she's very organized. She's very like, she remembers everything. You tell her your name once, she remembers it. You tell her your birthday once, she remembers it, which is not how my brain works at all. Someone tells me their name and like in half a second, I've forgotten what their name is. So I think just like her recognizing that I have these issues has made her sort of look at me in a different light when she's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so judgmental all the time. Because like, she knows like, I'm not going to let things get to the point where we have rodents crawling around or anything. But, there's sometimes like a week where my executive function is real bad and I'm messy and I'm forgetful and I'll like, be late for things all week. And she used to be like, why, just get up earlier, just do that. Like she used to kind of be like, what, why can't you just do the thing? And it's like, I literally can't.
I wish if I could do the thing, I would do it. Yeah.
Yes. I want to be able to do the thing. I don't like being late all the time. Mm-hmm. Like that's not something I want to have happen, but it just does because like time blindness is a thing. And yeah, how
did we make it to class? I remember at Humber, I made it to, I think there was one time I was really late and everyone was shocked. They're like, Colleen, you're always on time. I'm like, maybe if it's something I'm really interested in, but if it's not, or like I'm having a rough time if I get fixated on something and then I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have like 20 minutes to get ready.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but this
is not the way I thought our conversation would go. What?
No.
Wow.
Here we are.
I'm telling you, like this whole series has been mind blowing. I'm telling you now, like it's been like unbelievable what my colleagues are sharing about like just being at 40 and being able to talk about certain things. So I'm grateful that you've shared that because I did not, I would have never known, you know what I mean? So, because we both were really good students at Humber. So, what I mean?
Diva Tonight. Glamour for your ears. This is 40, a female perspective.
When you get to this age, you do start to like sort of self-reflect more and you're more curious about why you've done the things you do. And just there's a lot more life to reflect on at this point. I certainly like my attitude like, I remember people always saying, once you hit your 40s, you're not going to care what anyone thinks about you. You're not going to this. And I was like, oh, no. I'm very sensitive. I'll always care about that stuff. But it's true. Like, I could care less about what people think about me now. And I don't stress out about, I still say dumb things all the time. But I used to dwell on that. I go home and be like, oh, why did I say that? They're going to think I'm an idiot. Now it's like, I don't have those thoughts anymore because I literally don't care, which is very freeing. But yeah, I think just as you get older, you really start to know yourself better. And for me in particular, like the last 4 years, I was single, which I hadn't been since I was really 17 years old. It was like back-to-back relationships. One of them was 13 years. But being single over the last 4 years, I gave me the chance to like rediscover who I am outside of a relationship, but also gave me that time to like reflect on my brain because I was always, I would sort of attribute it to a partner as to why I did the thing, when I wasn't taking responsibility for my own brain. But like just having that time, and I guess COVID too, it's just a lot of time alone and reflecting. And I broke up with my boyfriend like right before lockdown, like it was a couple months before lockdown, which I'm grateful for because I don't think that would have been very well if we were stuck in a house together every single day. But yeah, having that time and then like getting the ADHD diagnosis and all that was just it was because I had that time and I was, I getting older and reflecting more and being like, hey, there's something not quite right here. I don't know what it is. Like, I know I'm not a broken human. I have a job, 2 jobs, and I function this far. I was like, but there's something that I'm just like, I can't get over this. I'm just not functioning the way I want to be functioning. And now I know why. But yeah, I think just that time alone and maturing emotionally has been a huge change for me. And like, I just started dating someone. We're almost at 3 months. So that's for the first time in 4 years. But this is probably the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. And I'm going to say that's probably a big part of that is because of like my own emotional intelligence now and just having that time to myself. Those 4 years were great.
Yeah.
They were very peaceful, and I really loved being able to do what I want, when I want, not have to ask anyone if they want to go, what they want to do. For my 39th birthday, I was like, you know what? I really just need a relaxing weekend to myself. So I booked a plane ticket to Florida. I rented an Airbnb and I just flew down there by myself. And I spent, I think like 3 days there, hanging at the beach, going out to restaurants by myself. Like this is something in my 20s. I never would have done that on my own. There's no way I would have been like, I'm just going to go to Florida by myself and enjoy the sunshine in February because that's what I want to do, which is what I did. And like, I'm so like secure in myself. And again, like going back to the not caring what people think, like I used to like be like, oh, if I'm at a restaurant alone, like what are people going to think of me? Now I love going to restaurants alone. I love doing like going to the movies alone, I go to concerts alone all the time because again,
concerts are hard alone. I've gone to one. I remember Our Lady Peace. I tried to get someone to go with me, but they weren't able to. And I'm like, I might as well go because I love Our Lady Peace. But
right.
Yeah, no, it's good. When you can do those things by yourself, I feel like it means that you're comfortable in your own skin. Because my one friend who I'm really close with, Kason, he says that, Carlene, you can't always expect that your friends or like you're going to have someone to go with. Like you're going to miss out on a lot of things that you enjoy doing if you're always trying to go with someone. And he was right. You know what I mean? I think once you start like just going to like for the first time, you're like, this is not that bad.
Yeah.
Do it.
And I just really, in my head too, excuse me, was happy being single. And I've never been on a dating app in my life. So that's not something I even ever tried.
Oh, okay.
I just there's a few people I was talking to, but it was like, I just really lost interest in dating people because the last few relationships were just awful. And one of them, I was really trying to force him to love me, and I was like, why? Like, what? I don't need this. And I think just, what it was, so I guess I was single from 37 to 41. All those years, like, again, it was like my friends started having kids and getting married. And then I couldn't just call them up on a random Tuesday and be like, oh, you want to go to this concert tonight? So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go alone. Contrary to what you think, I love going to concerts alone because I again, can walk wherever I want. I can go in the mosh pit if I want. I can stand at the back. I can do whatever I want. Whereas like when you're with a group or with other people, you have to constantly be checking in and making the plans with the group. And same with travel. Like I flew to Scotland alone. I flew to Florida alone. I done all these things on my own. And I'm really grateful for that time with myself because I was like, you know what? I'm actually pretty fun to hang around. And, like I don't need other people. And I like, for me, a big thing is like, I don't need a partner. It's that classic story when people are like, once you stop looking for it, you're going to find it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, shut up. I'm fine. I love being single. And then it happened to me. And the guy that I'm dating was the exact same boat. He was like, I don't want to date anyone. He was out of the game, like hadn't dated anyone in like over a year. And then we just happened to meet in person on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean. So,
Oh, wow. Oh, so when you were traveling. Okay. Yeah. I know someone that like she met her husband in Spain. I'm like, in Spain, how did you guys like manage to do the whole long distance thing? It's hard, you know what I mean? But I think, no, it's amazing that, you were single for 4 years and you obviously did a lot of work on yourself. And I think that's the thing that we all have to do. Like it's important. And I've done a lot of stuff on my own too. I talk about like, I hated the class. I mean, I hated how long it was, but once I did it, I did a meditation workshop for, what was it, 9 weeks? Those are hard. 9 weeks class, but I think it really did teach me a lot. Like I love talking and I did silent retreat. Then I was quiet for 4 hours. I couldn't believe it. Like we couldn't talk.
Oh, wow.
For me, that was mind-boggling. Mind-blowing. Sorry, I always say that wrong. Mind-blowing in a sense where I'm like, I can't believe I did that. Because that, for me, is the hardest thing and because there were people in the workshop like that I know. And then we're walking on the school grounds. Like we had to go outside and do a discovery walk. And like you see the person and I couldn't say anything to them.
Yeah.
So just like, this is wow. You know what I mean? It kind of forces you to reflect, think about things in a different way. But hearing you talk about just finding the person like when you least expect it, it's just so important too. But I do want to say something because I think I was looking at some statistics on women in their 40s. And so like they don't have anything recent, but in 2021, so nearly 1/4 of couples in Canada lived in common law unions, with Quebec driving this trend. And so basically we're saying the proportion of young adults, so 20 to 34, living with at least one parent was 14.5%. And then the one thing that's really interesting is like 10% of women in Canada live on low income. So single mothers and women facing multiple barriers. So I guess it's just shining a light on like, there's obviously a percentage of women that are single, but they're also like low income in various manners. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah. But I think at this stage, though, even online dating, like you said, so you didn't have to meet your person online or anything like that, right? So
yeah. No, it's something that has always terrified me. And it's just because I always...
So wait a minute, you've never
tried?
You've never tried? Never?
I've never been on a dating app.
Oh, wow.
And my reservations about it are that I always immediately think people are good people. And like I would give people time that they probably wouldn't deserve, Even my best friend said to me, Jen, you would get eaten alive on those apps. And she's like, you have a pretty face, so people would message you. And you would be nice to everybody. And I'm like, yeah, I would. And I know that about myself. So that kind of scared me because I was afraid of letting in the wrong person, And the biggest reason for me was that you can be whoever you want online. You can put whatever picture you want. You can say whatever you want about yourself. You can type whatever you think that person wants to hear. So I immediately don't trust you because I don't know who you actually are. And like, I would go into the relationship feeling that way. So I'm like, that's not a good way to start a relationship. Already not trusting somebody before you've even met them, I was like, that is not a good way for me mentally to start a relationship. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing it. And if I meet someone, great. If not, also great, because I loved being single. So yeah, I had a few friends trying to push me like, oh, how are you ever going to meet someone? Like maybe everyone's doing it, that kind of stuff. And I was just like, yeah, no, I can't. I don't want to do it. And I didn't. And yeah, I met someone in real life on a cruise, like,
Mm-hmm.
like surrounded by people of the same interest, because it was a music festival cruise, and this guy was a sound guy for one of the bands, and like I probably would have never met him if I had been dating all these dating app people, like when he was on the same thing. He wasn't on the apps either. Like he has been on them in the past. When he said he went on a few dates last year, and he's like, they were just so terrible that he was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm just going to be single. He's the exact same age as me. He's a month younger than me. So yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I think women in their 40s are very much realizing that like being single is peaceful. But conversely, there's some men also starting to kind of feel that way too.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably fewer, but there's a lot of women right now. There's this big movement of protecting your own peace, and like a lot of women are thinking, relationships aren't necessarily the way to do that, which I agree. I mean, I'm grateful things are going well, but I'm still like, I still have that in the back of my mind that I was very happy being single, and I would happily be single again. No, speaking ill of the person I'm dating at all, but
Yeah.
I think even just being secure enough in myself now to know that like I'm not going to be miserable and lonely and desperate if I'm alone, that I can still thrive and have a great time and go on trips and concerts and have friends and family that, other people that can fill my life with love and fun,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that,
you know what? Yeah, speaking of the benefits, so I mean, to go back to what you just said, so they say the benefits of singlehood increase life satisfaction and happiness, particularly around women in our age group, 40 to 85. Lower loneliness levels compared to married women,
yeah.
especially in older age, greater financial independence and security. Yeah, so I think it is interesting to discuss that because, I think there's this stigma attached to it, especially because society expects us to, at this age you're supposed to, be dating someone. At this age you're supposed to get married and all these things. And I think maybe I'm a nonconformist. I've always been like not conforming to society's beliefs and that kind of thing. I think I've always been like that. Like just if something is expected of me, I'm like,
yeah, same. Yeah, I'm very much the same. Like in marriage for me, that's like,
yeah, you don't see yourself getting married. You're just like,
I'm not against marriage per se. Yeah. I don't have a lot of money, so like seeing these, $100,000 weddings that people put on, to me, I'm like, man,
yeah,
that money could go to so many better things,
right?
You're just throwing a big party for your friends, really.
I see you doing something at like a vegan restaurant or something with like your friends or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like I, again, not against marriage. I've had a lot of fun, really expensive big weddings, and I appreciate all, my friends bringing me to that stuff. But, you can do weddings cheap where you can just go to the courthouse. You don't even have to have like a party. But for me, that's not like, it's not an end game. It's not something I ever thought like I need to do this. Like, it's like, again, like you, like, I'm like, well, someone told me you got to get married and have kids. And I'm like, do I though? Like maybe I don't have to do that. And you don't have to do that. And yeah, it's just not something.
But you don't have to do it. But I think it takes a very strong-minded person to do it and be okay with it and communicate with your family. Because I'm sure it's harder when your family's asking. Like even my grandmother still asks me now. And it's just like, I think that's the only thing that makes it difficult with you are close with certain family members and they still ask about it. You know what I mean? So
especially the older generation, like it's just that's how it was. Like that was just what you did, like you finished high school and you got married and then you popped out some kids and that was life.
Yeah.
I think just now, like there have been times in my life where like there was one time where like I had a partner who wanted to marry me and I wanted to break up with him. So, like I'm not like, it could have happened for me because I'm not saying like, again, I'm not against it. Like I'm not saying I'll never get married. I don't know that, but it's just not a goal for me. It's not something I feel like I have to do to feel like a complete person, and again, like being so content being single and then going into like this relationship I'm in now, like he's the same way where he's like, I'm not so into marriage. And I'm like, cool, me either. And he's like, I don't want kids. And I'm like, cool, me either. Like, and that's another thing too with dating over the last 4 years or starting to talk to people. I was very upfront with all that stuff. I was like, I'm not interested in like rushing into marriage or anything. I said, and I don't want kids. Those are like the two things that as a courtesy to that other person, because if they want those things, then I'm not the person for them. And I just wanted to get that out of the way. But I'm telling you, the amount of people that tried to convince me otherwise, to be like, oh, but like, like you might regret not having kids, or like I had one guy have the audacity to say, oh, but like if you had kids with me, it would be fine because I would be a great dad, so it wouldn't be much work. And I was like, I'm sorry, are you the one growing a human inside you? Like, what do you mean it wouldn't be much work for me? Like that mentality from like men in particular that I've talked to over the last 4 years or so, just them trying to change my mind about these things that I'm very firm and upfront with, because I'm like, if you don't, that's not for you, then I'm not for you. And that's fine. And let's move on before we get any feelings involved here. But there was numerous men who told me I would change my mind, or they would make me change my mind, or their kids would be the best. And there's oftentimes I didn't know how to respond to that. But usually I would just like, look, I have made my decision. I'm telling you this because if that's not what you want, let's just move on. Like there's a million other women out there who would love to get married and love to start a family. That's not me.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just some people that just are not like they can't understand that that's actually what I want. And they can't respect that that's actually what I want. They always think, oh, you're doing that because you want to be different, or you want to protect yourself or whatever. And it's just like, no, the life that I imagine doesn't involve either of those things. And it's very, very difficult for some people to accept, because we've all been instilled with these, timelines and what we're supposed to have done in life. And I think like a lot of people around this age feel that right now, like they don't have that marriage and kids thing and family, that they're failing, that they're falling behind, which is sad, really, because then it takes people away from just going out and enjoying life, because they're so worried and depressed because they don't have a wife or a husband. And I wish people, like, I'm not saying be like me, because like, again, I've made my choices and this is just how I see my life playing out. Any other way anyone sees their life is fine. But like, I wish people would stop being so hard on themselves and putting pressure to like fit that mold, like you said, that what people you're supposed to be doing. Because I have a lot of, acquaintances that I've known that have married the wrong person just because they were like, oh, this could be my last chance. And it's like, no, you got until you're dead. Like, whenever that may be, there's no rush. Everyone's timelines are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think being like 40 is like, it's that midlife crisis age, like, and I feel that too. Like, I'm like at the point right now where I'm like, do I need a career change? Like, do I want to move? Like, what, and I have these thoughts. I'm like, where's this coming from? I'm like, it's because I'm having my midlife crisis. I'm like, I have 25 more years to work. Like, what am I going to do with it?
Exactly. But, I think, I don't know if I had the midlife crisis, but I did have the health scare. And that kind of it's kind of like that wake up call. Yeah. And, speaking of like timeline, I listened to Mel Robbins' podcast, and the one thing I appreciate her saying is like, those timelines that society expects you, like, having a house by the time you're 35, 40. Like, I mean, she's like, the average person who can own a home is like so much later on in life, because that was different at a different time. And now having a house now is so much harder because of the market. And so we have to be like looking at everything for what it is in terms of the time right now. And like being, like you said, being okay with the situation that you're in now. And it's your time. Like, I mean, even me, like you're talking about your career, like even me too. I was like, I didn't get clarity on my career choice until I think I was 39. And then everything kind of like made sense. Because when other people have, like, they see what you're good at and you don't see what they're talking about. I remember my high school teacher, and I told this story to another friend, but like everyone has a different journey to get to. And like, we're all going on a different path. Like, some people figure it out younger, like some people figure it out like 30, 40, like there's no set time. And like, it's hard, I guess when you have these expectations, but I think it just goes back to the fact that like you are where you're supposed to be and you're going to figure it out. Like, just like you're going to figure it out. And it took you 4 years of being on your own. And I think it's good though. Like, I mean, because like there's a reason why you had to be single for that amount of time to discover who you are and work on yourself. And because you want the person, like the person that you're with, you want them to be in that stage of life too. You know what I mean? Like,
and you want to be able to present your best self too. Right?
But sure. But I think this is like one of those conversations where we definitely have to talk more. But it's amazing how far you've come since, you know, we met like how many years ago now? Like 15 years ago,
15
right?
years, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Or was it 2009? I don't even know.
2010, I think. Yeah, I remember when I was like, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I got into Humber.
I was so excited too. Yeah, I left the job and I go back to college when I was 26. So I was like, this is great.
I was kind of like thinking, well, for me, when I was like, ooh, I'm old. Like, am I going to feel weird? Like, is there going to be other people my age group? And then we found like a cluster of us that were like
of the older people. Yeah. But we made friends with all the 18-year-olds. And
we did, right?
Yeah. We still talked to a couple of them. So
yeah, you still talk to Sabrina? Do you still talk to her?
Serena, the odd time, yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay, that's cool.
Like online, like whatever.
Yeah.
I still talk to like Karan, like a few other people that we met there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was an interesting time. And that was another thing too, you know, like most people knew what they wanted to do right out of high school. I didn't. So I just went to work. And it wasn't until I was 26 and I had been in a career in finance for 5 years at that point that I was like, well, this is not for me. Like, this is not what I want to be doing. I'm miserable. And then like just that day when that realization was like, I could just do something else. I like applied for school that day. Within a week, I had been to the school for an interview, got accepted, and then quit my job. And I was just like, I'm kind of at that point now. I was like, you know, I would love to go back to school. I can't financially do that to myself again because I just paid off my school loans, I think last year or the year before.
Wow,
so
good for you, Jen. Awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to go through that again. And I'm like, because I love learning. I would love to go back to school and like try something else. And I'm very interested in a number of things, but I'm just like financially, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I feel like with online now, like if you could do some online courses and stuff.
Yeah.
The alternative.
Maybe when I don't have 2 jobs and work 7 days a week.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah. It's so cool though. I mean, for sure. It's just whatever you decide to do that's going to work for you in the end, right? But yeah, it's been a great conversation and I hope we do it again. I'm Carlene and this is Diva Tonight with Jen K. You can follow her online at Instagram. But I put your link here for Twitter, which is now X, Jen Ocean, and then you can listen to her, right? Sometimes you're like you fill in. Is that what you do?
I do, yeah. I have a weekly show on 92.9 The Grand and 88.5 The Lake on Sunday nights, 9 to midnight.
Oh, nice.
8 to midnight. Sorry, I got an extra hour now. 8 to midnight. And then, yeah, I fill in swing whenever I'm needed.
That's cool, for sure. It's been great. This has been like so unexpected, I gotta say. I didn't even think this conversation would turn this way, but yeah, it's been awesome. But yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, gotta have that conversation about AI sometime.
For sure, we definitely do, definitely.
Diva Tonight with Carlene will be back. Send us a message on Instagram at diva_tonight.